This map shows the rapid expansion of the Assyrian Empire around 713 BC. They were a military juggernaut, systematically swallowing up smaller territories across the ancient Near East. Leading this charge was King Sargon, who dispatched a high-ranking military official known as the Tartan, the second in command of the entire army. The speed of this military advance created widespread panic. Local kingdoms looked south, toward the Empire of Egypt, as their only hope for a shield against the Assyrian machine. That tension sets the stage for Isaiah chapter 20, verse 1. In the year that Tartan came unto Ashdod, when Sargon the king of Assyria sent him, and fought against Ashdod, and took it. The fall of Ashdod signaled the start of a geopolitical crisis, forcing the kingdom of Judah to decide where they would place their ultimate trust. Ashdod was an ancient and formidable stronghold, the strongest of the Philistine cities. Its king, Azori, made a stale calculation and refused to pay his regular tribute to Sargon. Sargon's response was swift. Assyrian forces laid siege to the city to completely crush the revolt. The military machine overwhelmed the defenses, stripped Ashdod of its wealth, deposed its leadership, and carried off its idols as the spoils of war. The easy collapse of this mighty fortress shattered the confidence of neighboring nations, pushing Judah closer to a desperate alliance with Egypt. In the streets of Jerusalem, the political fallout from Ashdod had fully gripped the minds of King Hezekiah and his counselors. At that moment, the Lord commanded the prophet Isaiah, "Go and loose the sackcloth from off thy loins, and put off thy shoe from thy foot." And he did so, walking naked and barefoot. Isaiah stripped away his outer prophet's robe to walk in a short inner tunic, the standard attire of a slave or a prisoner of war. Isaiah maintained this state of public degradation for 3 years, from 713 to 710 BC. Verse 3 identifies this act as a specific warning. And the Lord said, "Like as my servant Isaiah hath walked naked and barefoot 3 years, for a sign and wonder upon Egypt and upon Ethiopia." Isaiah subjected himself to this physical shame because it was the only way to shock a nation that believed their political safety lay in an Egyptian alliance. The prophet's appearance mirrored the reality of ancient warfare, where conquering armies intentionally stripped defeated enemies to rob them of their dignity. Verse 4 clarifies the visual. "So shall the king of Assyria lead away the Egyptians prisoners, and the Ethiopians captives, young and old, naked and barefoot, even with their buttocks uncovered." The armies of Egypt and Ethiopia would be rounded up and led away by armed guards, bare and exposed as Isaiah modeled. The text notes this was to the shame of Egypt, a calculated move by Assyria to mortify a once great superpower. Isaiah's living metaphor proved that allying with Egypt would not bring Judah salvation. It would only tether them to a nation already destined for humiliation. That realization triggers a collapse of national morale in verse 5. "And they shall be afraid and ashamed of Ethiopia, their expectation, and of Egypt, their glory." The nations that relied on Egypt as their glory suddenly found themselves terrified, watching their primary protector buckle under Assyrian pressure. This map highlights the coastal regions, Tyre, Phoenicia, and Cyprus, who realize in verse 6 that their escape route has evaporated. "Behold, such is our expectation, whither we flee for help to be delivered from the king of Assyria." The chapter ends with a haunting final question. And how shall we escape? It is the sound of a people realizing they have completely run out of earthly saviors. Isaiah's 3-year walk served as a stark physical demonstration. When a nation's security is built on human empires, they are only as safe as the power they trust, and even the greatest powers are susceptible to total collapse.